everybody. How are you all today? Happy Sunday to you! Okay, as a lot of you know, if you follow me, I go into the cold water quite a lot. I go in most days. And people always ask me about it. They ask me why I do it. They ask me how I got started. They ask me just generally about it, really. So, how I got started. So, that was cold. So, a very good friend of mine called Odette, who lives down in Brighton, in lockdown, has started doing it, and she was telling me how amazing it was, and I needed to do it, and I was like, "Not on your Nelly! There is no way you are getting me in freezing cold water." But then she challenged me to do it, so I was like, "Oh, okay." So I did it. I did it in 2021. I did my first ever one with some good friends, and the first time I went in a wetsuit, and it was at the end of May, and the weather was pretty good. And then the second time I went in was the beginning of June, and that was the first time with just a swimming costume. And I remember the first time with the wetsuit on, I was squealing like anything, and now look at me. But anyway, yeah. And the funny thing was when I went in the June, it was a really beautiful day. The sun was shining. I was up at the lakes, and the kids were just jumping in as they do. And I was there with my woolly hat on. Oh my God, there's rocks on the floor. With my woolly hat on, screaming. And all these kids were just jumping in normally. And from that day onwards, I just loved it. Right, I'm just going to get under. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, it's cold. Yeah, so I absolutely loved it. From that day onwards, I was hooked. And it's the benefits of, I don't know, I mean, just being out in nature for one just makes you feel amazing. For me personally, I'm so lucky where I live. I live by the beach, I'm not far from the lakes. So for me, just getting out in nature, God, it makes me feel so good. I've always loved beaches, but I've lived abroad for most of my life, or for most of my sort of 20s and 30s. So I was always by a beach, but I was always in hot countries. And when I moved back to Wales, honestly, I hardly ever went to the beach because I just hated the cold so much. I basically was on the beach maybe June, July, August, that was it. And then as soon as I started doing this, I am, as you now can see, I am on the beach pretty much most days now. The cold weather does not faze me anymore. If I look out the window and it looks miserable, I just think, well, I'll just wrap up. It's been, it's just been so good for me. And the benefits are amazing. It's, you know, when you get in, it's the when you go with friends, because I go quite often with my friends, we're just laughing the whole time. Love this so much. Yeah, me too. We just laugh the whole time. I mean, you can get all the same health benefits from going in a shower. I just don't like cold showers. I mean, I've done them. And for those of you who are thinking of starting it, if cold shower is your only option, then you start off with a hot shower and then turn your temperature water cooler till it's cold, and then you start off at 15 seconds and you build up to 2 minutes. 2 minutes is the max that you need. 2 minutes is the full benefits of what the cold water is going to do for you. Just speaking to your friend Jodie to try it. Yes, do it. Um, but for me personally, because I am lucky where I live, obviously I work for myself, so I have a bit more time flexibility than other people, and I live right by the cold water, so it's easy for me. But when I first started, I used to say to my friend, I wonder why it's good for your mental health. And she jokingly said, because it's that goddamn cold, you can't think of anything else. And actually, that actually is a fact. That basically your body, so what happens is you go in the cold water. So when you go under and you hear me go, that shock bit, that's the bit that you're after. And your body goes into fight or flight mode. So it's releasing all sorts of adrenaline, and it releases loads of serotonin, endorphins in your brain. because it's going, what the hell are you doing putting yourself in freezing cold water? So this is why the 2 minutes is that's all you need. After that, you just stay in because you like it. But for me, it massively, massively, massively clears my head. It just makes me feel amazing. So if you're thinking of starting it in the shower, like I said, you start off with your normal hot shower, then you cool it, cool it, cool it. When it goes cold, and you scream when that shower hits you. 15 seconds, and then build up to 2 minutes. And pretty much every day, if you have a shower every day, the morning or evening, you finish with that 2 minute cold shower. I personally, when I go in the sea, never get my hair wet, but that's more because I've got such long hair that having soaking wet cold hair when I get out just isn't appealing, and having to wash my hair every day is not appealing either. But I do know lots of people, when they go in the sea, they put their head under as well. The things that you will need. So if you're going outdoors, what you will need is, I wear wet shoes the whole year round, and that's purely because a friend of mine, when we'd gone once in the cold, because she couldn't feel properly her skin, she actually ended up cutting her feet. So you can buy things called neoprene socks, which are like wetsuit material in their socks, and the same with the gloves. So I've got them, but I tend to just stick in my wet shoes with the rubber soles, but I put the gloves on as well. And then the woolly hat. There is a reason for this woolly hat, because it's the extremities, so it's to keep you cold. Oh, so it's just to stop the cold going. I can feel my hands now; they're getting quite numb in the cold. The other thing that you will need is a tow float. These are like a balloon almost, that you attach around your waist and it floats behind you. Because if you say I decided to swim now, my body went into a bit of a shock, then I would have a float with me as well. And the other reason is they're so bright colours that you're very visible, because when somebody's in the sea, you think everybody can see you, and it's really difficult to see. So that's the safety aspect there. You can go in wetsuits, you can go in whatever, it's really down to you. The rule of thumb for staying in, they say, I just judge by when I've had enough, but they say that you go per degree. So if it's 10 degrees, 10 minutes. How would you suggest to start going in the sea? And here we are, I'm going through it. But when I first went in, so now when you see me go live, you can see that I can just walk straight in now, can't you? But when I first went in, I went up to my ankles and stood there. And then I went to my calves, and then I stood there. And then I went up a bit higher, and then I stood there. So I climatized the whole way. And then what you should do is, so when you get to, you kind of want to get your shoulders in. So if I walk backwards a bit here, the one thing I would definitely say is, when you decide to go under, you know how you hear me go 1, 2, 3. What you need to do is just go 1, 2, 3 and just go down, because you don't want to swim off, because you don't know when you first start if your body could go into some kind of shock. So it's always on safety. So you go in gradually, you climatize, and then you go a bit deeper, and then duck under. And you don't have to go under on your very first go. They also say that after 6 goes of doing it, your body starts to acclimatize to the cold. With hypothermia, so I was watching a guy. So in this country, in our temperatures of the sea, it's impossible for an adult human, or not impossible, but it's very, 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 very rare that an adult human would go into hypothermia in less than 30 minutes. Now, this is a scientist that said this, not me. And I'm talking about our temperatures in the water, not countries where it's -degrees. Because we're such a big mammal, basically, to cool it down. The other thing that you do need to have as well is, when you get out of the water, you need a hot drink. So basically, as I'm in the water now, and obviously I'm getting colder, my internal temperature is going colder, colder, colder. So just because I get out the water, it doesn't suddenly start to reheat. It's still almost like on a sliding scale, going colder. So when I get out now, I have a changing robe towel, so that's like those poncho towels. So I literally pull the straps of my cozy off, put the towel over my head, take my cozy off, and I'm now covered from head to toe in the towel. I then dry my feet, put on the thickest, wooliest socks. I then put on thick, woolly. I put on Jim Jam bottoms because they just if you're trying to get into tight clothes, it's really hard. Think of when you come out of a swimming pool and you're trying to get dressed. Everything's just a bit sticky, isn't it? So I wear baggy Jim Jam bottoms, and then I put on immediately my changing robe. Now, changing robes are quite expensive. I mean, the one I've got is a dry robe, but I have to say that my dry robe is worth every single penny that you would pay for it, because it's weatherproof of everything, waterproof, fluffy, warm, dry, and because they're like a big, huge tent on you, you can get changed underneath them. So I am constantly now I've changed in the middle of the street before now. I know I don't really care, but you can 100% change underneath them and no one can see anything. So I didn't get into the seat until I had the changing robe, because I was such a wuss. I was like, I have got to be warm when I get out. So that is, I know you can get cheaper versions, but definitely something, because when you get out, you just want to, well, one, when you're getting in, you might not come straight from home, so you want to get changed. And two, when you get out, you want to get these wet clothes off and warm, dry clothes on fast. But I have to say, people, the bit the bit that's the amazing bit is when you get out, your body just goes a bit crazy, your skin goes tingly. There's no way you can feel miserable and lethargic in the sea at all. You know what I mean? It is like it's a big, huge shock to the system, isn't it? Oh, my hands are getting cold now. I'm going to get out now with you guys. So, how long have I been in? So, I've been in for however long I've been talking to you guys now. And for me now, I feel like it's enough. I can feel myself. I know this sounds a bit weird, but I can feel myself internally getting cold. And everybody always asks me about, when you get out, isn't it freezing when you get out? No, my skin is numb now. My skin won't be able to feel anything. I can stand on the side of the beach now, chatting away. It's not like, when you go to a swimming pool and you get out and you start shivering. It's not like that at all. I'm bloody frozen now. So I will get out. I mean, because I live so close to the beach, I'm quite lucky that I literally put the poncho towel on, put the dry robe on, put my changing robe on, my dry robe on, and everybody, this is why I bought Crocs. I used to hate Crocs. I thought they were the ugliest thing in the whole wide world. I used to ridicule people that wore them, and I now am converted, because when I get out now, when I dry, I put these big fluffy socks on, and then I put the Crocs on, because it's easy. Everything needs to be quick and easy when you get out. So yeah, so those are my tips for going in the sea. I'll do some more on the tips on the sea with a bit more order. See, now my hand now is feeling quite cold. It is really, I should really be wearing my gloves in the sea now probably, but because I'm filming and chatting to you guys, I keep not putting them on. So yeah, anybody, if you've got any more questions, honestly, just send me messages and I will answer them. And I will also do a video on the benefits of the cold water for you, what it's actually doing to me. So other than making me feel alive, there is actual health benefits going on here. It reduces, hang on, I'm trying to get I strap my phone to my hand just in case I drop it in the sea. There is actually health benefits as well, reducing inflammation within your body. I mean, if you know that guy Wim Hof, he says if you don't want to catch a cold, take yourself to the cold. So meaning, this should mean, like, let's watch this winter. I should never have a cold again now. We'll see. We'll watch this space. All right, everybody. Yes, if you want any more information, got any questions, just send me a message. And Hope you all have a fabulous Sunday, and I'll see you all soon. All right, love you lots, everybody. Bye.